Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining the last bar talk of today's presence of Deloitte Digital at the Adobe Summit in Las Vegas. Thanks for coming and thanks for cheering up. So this is the last session before famous Adobe Sneaks. We're going to enjoy in half an hour. Let me just quickly introduce our guest today. John, you want to start?
You said you were going to introduce. You said you were
Fantastic introduction. It's a great start. My name is John Pritchard. I'm Senior Director for Adobe I/O.
Closer to me.
I'm Brad Almack. I'm Senior Director of Product Development for Adobe Sensei.
And I'm Stefan Grossman, Senior Manager for Deloitte Digital in Germany.
Cool. And my name is Thilo. I'm Thilo Tobens from Germany. I'm looking after our Adobe practice over there. I'm happy to start this conversation with a question to Stefan. Stefan,
Yes.
I heard about your team having developed a demo around Adobe Sensei and
Yeah.
I/O, which
Yeah.
happens to be one of the most hottest stuff on this summit.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce it to you?
Yes. Well,
And
to
us.
to be very honest and fair, this is not just us Deloitte. This is in a co-development between Adobe and Deloitte Digital. We have people here that work actively with us. So what we did was to think about, how can we in a Deloitte Digital context, we have a lot of large clients, come up with something where we find meaning in Sensei in a real life example, and how can we produce something that involves most of the products of the Adobe Experience Cloud. What we wanted to achieve is content creation at scale and content velocity, because these are the hot topics in the marketing environment. And what we did is come up with a travel around the world. What you basically do is you pick a country that you would rather be in. For example, you for now. Where would you rather be than in the US right now? And give a politically correct answer, please.
Very politically correct answer. Let's try Mexico.
All right. So I'm typing in Mexico. What is happening now? I'm taking the picture. This is a very noisy background, right? This is very hard to work with. I'm sending it via AEM now, using Adobe I/O to Sensei. Sensei has a preset amount of rules. In this case, it's the deep cutout that is available in Sensei. And Sensei is using a backdrop that relates to Mexico that we have from Adobe stock, and crops the image, puts the backdrop on it, and I'm now using AEM again to put it live on our Twitter account. And in the back, you'll see a wall, a media wall, which uses Livefire to take that picture. And there it is.
There it is. Just turn around.
Onto our media wall. And there's also an email that has come to me telling me what has just happened using Adobe Campaign. Again, the use case is content creation at scale and content velocity, and it's a very playful thing. Come see us by the booth at the when we're done, and we'll show it to you gladly.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. I think that's a very good, a very tangible demonstration of the power of combining multiple modules and solutions out of the Adobe Experience Cloud. Brad, when we think about Sensei, everybody's talking about Sensei.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about your plans and why are you so heavily investing in Sensei?
Well, yeah, I think, AI is big in the industry right now. And so, many software companies are investing in AI. I think, for us, AI is all about digital experiences. And so our AI is very purpose-built for digital experiences, and we're the only real company that's doing that in the industry. So we're uniquely positioned to do that. And I think, some of the stuff we're excited about is announcing that you can extend those AI services, partners can extend those AI services using Adobe I/O and Adobe I/O functions to meet their specific unique needs and that they need in their enterprise. So I think that's why we're really excited about it and talking about it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we as a partner, we're totally excited as well, because you open up a lot of opportunities for us to be creative, use the services, use the intelligence for new business models, etc. But where are you, let's say, from a long-term perspective, where are you headed with this?
Well, I mean, it's going to be investment for a long time. And I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg about what we can solve with, AI and powering the creative and content experiences. I mean, what we're really trying to do is automate a lot of the mundane work that people have to do day to day, so that the humans can focus on more strategic kind of functions. So we have a long way to go, but we feel like we've got a lot of momentum, and we're pleased to see so much momentum and so much talk about it here at Summit.
Yeah, perfect. I think it reflects pretty much what Stefan has just shown us. Like, people in marketing and in the other creative departments can finally focus on the really value creating stuff, and you can automate things. We really love that concept.
Yeah. And I think, like general purpose AI is great, and there are some companies that are focused on that, but I think, we are all about serving creatives and marketers, and then they have very unique needs. And so using something like Adobe I/O functions, where they can take these discrete AI services and then stitch them together to meet their very specific needs, I think is really powerful. So.
Yeah. Speaking of I/O, John, I mean, you expected the question around this.
Yeah. I mean, I just softballed it for you, man. I mean, come
you
on.
want to share with us some reasons why Adobe has really decided strategically to invest in this heavily?
Sure. I think the first thing to appreciate is that I/O, first of all, is our single destination for extending and integrating with the Adobe Cloud Platform. And the really compelling part of that story is it is all the APIs and services and capabilities we actually use to build our own products. And we've opened that up to the community. What we find is partners like yourself are connected with customers who have very custom needs and solutions. And you guys are creating integrations like you just described. I think is a great example that show aspects of things like Sensei, campaign, experiences, analytics. So for us, we are continuing to make available all the technologies that we're using to construct the very tools that you guys are using. Yeah. And the ecosystem effect happens as you start to create these integrations.
Mm-hmm. Cool. You mentioned a lot of modules of the Experience Cloud with specific regards to Sensei. How does it relate to it, I/O and Sensei? Can you explain that a little bit to our audience?
Sure. So a lot of our Adobe technologies have machine learning or trained eye in the products, and they have been there for years. We would refer to this as Adobe magic back in the day. And by having those as service-enabled capabilities exposed through I/O, you now are able to access those sort of directly and to create event-driven workflows, much like you just described. Mm-hmm. So imagine, and what's a very often common use case is a retailer, for example, that has sells on a store or like an apparel line. They are often sourcing that content from suppliers, and they have huge volumes of content coming in that needs to go through a set of steps. So I have to look at quality. I have to understand what's in the image. I want to do a maybe specific cropping mechanism. Yeah. And those are all composable workflows that as a customer or a partner, you guys help assemble, and I/O makes all that possible.
Yeah.
Excellent. Brett, you want to add some real life examples from your experience?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Adobe has a history of using our own technology and piloting it internally before we release it out to the public. And one example is attribution. And so we happen to have a multi-billion-dollar online business, Creative Cloud. And as we were transitioning to an online business several years ago, we had we were learning about how to get insight into which channel we're more likely to convert. Okay. And so being able to, and we actually created some AI with that. I think internally we called it Project Relay or something like that. Is that right? And it actually won an award last year for, it was like a marketing, ANA Genius Award. Any award with the name Genius in it, is good. And so we won that award, and it's going to be coming to market pretty soon. And so it really helps you understand, all the different channels where you're getting leads and, making sure you're putting your marketing dollars to work in the right place. And we've been using it for 3 years. So, it's, we pound on it internally before we release it out to the public. So.
You know what's really powerful to consider is that we often think about experiences only happening on a website or maybe on a mobile device. But in today, like you have an experience when you walk into a store, and that store is aware of you coming in, maybe because you've got the app for that vendor or that provider, or you're in front of a kiosk, and that kiosk is intelligent enough to see you, maybe make some inferences about who you are, and actually change the content of that experience. I think it's super powerful right now about how this experience model is completely changing how we address and touch customers in all these different sort of ways and lenses and vehicles.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, if it's okay, I mean, what you saw this morning in our demo was, some stuff we did with NVIDIA, where we used some really powerful GPUs to do some real-time, object detection in a scene.
Yeah.
And I've been working on that deal for the last couple of weeks. But to John's point, we took it one step further, which is not only, you heard Jensen say it on stage, right? Not only did we see a horse and we can process it, but, when the machine can look at a cartoon and process it as a horse, there's some pretty powerful stuff happening, and we can do all of that object detection real time in the video, and then we can make judgments about it. We can make judgments about the image aesthetic. We can make judgments about the mood. And when you can get those kinds of insights, there's a lot of opportunities that are opened up.
Opportunities is a great word, because just referring to what John said, when you talk about all the I/O events that you could use also in a non-online business, so opening up that story to multi-channel, omni-channel scenarios. Does that mean you can use your I/O events and triggers also in other applications?
So it's a great question. I think we look at events coming from either inside the Adobe Cloud Platform. So a customer is interacting with a property that a vendor or organization has exposed, and their behavior triggers events that you want to act on. We equally have the ability to have external events that happen outside of our technology that make us want to do something with the technology. So, the idea of triggering an email that's very personalized based on an experience a customer's having at the right time, very classic use case. But it goes to, again, to any of those sort of experience points you could have. Kiosk-based, in-app, in-game, based on what we saw this morning. And given the gaming industry's sort of proliferation right now, just imagine getting beyond the virtual reality experience of a game to actually having the game react to your behavior, maybe who you're playing with, how you're behaving with the other teammates. It may change the dynamics of the game. I think there's a lot of opportunities around personalization becoming something more than just email, really becoming something very immersive.
Yeah. I'm totally excited about this scenario, because it literally lets me hope of a lot of brainstorming sessions, how we can use a lot of sources of information, plug them into I/O and use them for really beneficial use cases in your DMP or in your AEM scenarios, and really contribute significantly to better experiences. I love it. Loving is one part, money is the other. Stefan, the use case you've shown us with traveling around the world is a nice.
Oh, I think your mic.
Somebody cut me off? No. Can you tell us something about your ideas around monetizing that? Because that's what it's at the end of the day always important for our clients and also Deloitte.
Absolutely. I think we're entering the next level of service, not only from an Adobe perspective, but also from a Deloitte perspective for our clients. In the past years, we helped our clients streamline their marketing operations a lot. We have, one case where we just took out a lot of money out of the marketing operations by making assets available globally. That alone was phenomenal for them. Now we can help them in let's call it cost cutting for a second, although it sounds a little brutal. We can focus people to do the heavy lifting and let the machines do the legwork. That's money that is available then. The other thing is really the love of the customer, as we have discussed it. Hyper-personalization is another thing where you can think of, and also from a revenue perspective. One example that comes to mind is a microtransaction business, for example, on this company's classifieds business, where at the checkout, when someone sells that stool, you could offer for 20 cents more. Would you like to have a great picture instead of your handheld iPhone nitty-gritty thing. So from the big corporations optimizing the marketing operations to maybe new businesses, I think we see a lot of value there. And again, always the customer loyalty, retention through hyper-personalization, which now is possible. That's powerful.
So let me summarize. A lot of opportunities to monetize this combination of Sensei, I/O, and the rest of the Experience Cloud. Looking back, this was only possible by the close collaboration of your product development and Stefan's team in Germany. So you want to do some closing remarks around the partnership between Adobe and Deloitte Digital and the value of it?
So I'd say from our perspective on I/O, it's been a wonderful relationship. You guys bring the voice of the customer to us, often in a very what I call hyper-localized geography around this is what is needed in certain types of verticals. It allows us to make sure that we are providing the right technologies at the right time, but mostly driving that customer experience in a way that where we partner with you guys, it's delivered in the most complete and total fashion. So it's been great working relationship, and looking forward to it.
I think the thing I would add is, I've been at Adobe for 10 years, and I've worked with Deloitte on, both from Deloitte coming in and helping us do projects and helping do projects at customer sites. And I think it's not only just the go-to-market stuff, but I mean, Adobe and Deloitte have just a really deep relationship that goes all the way to the C-suite and all the way down to the working level. So I think it's a great relationship, and we value it a lot.
And if I can just add, I think AI is something, and your I/O services is something that our clients think about now, and it's a fundamental shift, and it's coming rapidly, it's instantly, and they just need strong partners that are able to work together to help them pave the way for their future. And thank you again to the team over there and you guys. And I think that powerful partnership can help a lot of clients get to the next level in our industry.
So I think this is a beautiful summary of our collaboration and today's last Bar Talk. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, John. Stefan, thanks for being here, and thanks for having us here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.